Imagine the world you live in collapsing not once, but 5 times. 5 great extinctions, 5 ends of the world, and each time only a few survivors that shaped the future of Earth. Today on Terra, we go to the greatest catastrophes in history. 5 times when life on Earth almost ended. The first extinction, the deadly glaciation or Ordovician-Silurian. About 445 million years ago, the world suddenly froze. The first great extinction in Earth's history began not with fire, but with cold. At the end of the Ordovician period, Earth experienced 2 deadly blows, 2 waves of extinction about 1 million years apart. The result? More than 60% of marine invertebrates disappeared. The seas, once teeming with life, were emptied. Bryozoans, brachiopods, corals, clams, and echinoderms were the main victims of this ice age. Marine reefs collapsed, and ancient ecosystems were destroyed. What was the real killer? A wandering continent called Gondwana. As this supercontinent drifted toward the South Pole, the Earth's temperature plummeted, the ice sheets expanded, and sea levels plummeted. The sea receded, and with it, the habitats of millions of living things disappeared. Today, the traces of this catastrophe still remain. In the glacial deposits of the African Sahara, a silent witness to the time when the Earth froze, and life for the first time came close to extinction. The Ordovician-Silurian extinction is a reminder of this truth. Sometimes death comes cold and silent. The second extinction, airless oceans, Late Devonian. 374 million years ago, Earth began to slowly die out, not with a bang, not with a sudden blow, but with a slow, hidden death. The Late Devonian extinction was one of the 5 great extinctions in Earth's history, the event that marked the end of the Devonian boom. In the crisis, 19% of families and about half of all living species were wiped out. But this time, no one knows exactly how long the catastrophe lasted. 500,000 years? Or a nightmare that lasted 25 million years? The evidence suggests that it was probably not a single catastrophe, but a series of small but continuous shocks that brought life to its knees. The seas gasped for breath, oxygen diminished, sea levels rose and fell, marine volcanoes awoke, perhaps even ice slowly approached the Earth. At that time, the land was just coming to life. Plants, insects, and amphibians were spreading, but in the seas, the real disaster occurred. The great coral reefs collapsed. Brachiopods and stromatopterids disappeared one by one. The Devonian extinction changed the world, not with one blow, but with the erosion of hope, a quiet death, but deep and merciless. The third extinction, the mother of all extinctions, Permian-Triassic. 251 million years ago, the Earth almost died. Not a simple catastrophe, but the greatest massacre in the history of life. An extinction that was later called the Great Dying. The oceans were emptied. 96% of marine species disappeared. On land, 70% of vertebrates fell. Even insects, which almost always survive, were defeated this time. Life was brought to its knees, and it took millions of years to recover. The death was not sudden. It happened in a series of dark episodes. First, the Earth slowly became sick. Environmental changes, less oxygen, seas that could not breathe. Then came the final blow. In Siberia and northern China, the Earth erupted for over 1 million years. Seas of fire and a sky filled with sulfur dioxide. The sun dimmed, and the Earth plunged into a deadly winter. But the nightmare was not over. The seas choked, releasing a poisonous gas called hydrogen sulfide, air that was deadly to breathe. One by one, creatures suffocated. Then, as the volcanoes died down, heat arrived. Methane and carbon dioxide scorched the earth suddenly. At this point, 95% of all remaining life was also destroyed. But from this devastation, a stubborn survivor emerged. The reptiles. They adapted, survived, and later became the rulers of the Mesozoic era. The Great Dying was not the end. It was a complete reset of life on Earth. The fourth extinction, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction. About 200 million years ago, life reached a breaking point. In less than 10,000 years, the blink of an eye on a geological scale, the old world collapsed. The seas became silent. About 20% of marine animal families disappeared. On land, the crocodile-like giants, the corroders, fell one by one. The giant amphibians disappeared, and only a few therapsids survived. In total, more than half of the species alive at the time were wiped out forever. But that wasn't the end. This extinction set the stage for a new power. Competitors were eliminated, and the dinosaurs, unchallenged and unrivaled, entered an age of dominance. The period we know as the Jurassic. What was the cause? The answer is still shrouded in mystery. Gradual climate change? Wasn't enough for such a sudden death. An asteroid impact? No craters fit this time frame. But there's an even scarier scenario. Hellish volcanic eruptions in the heart of the ocean. Seas of magma, a sky full of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide, or deadly cold or stifling heat. An Earth that was no longer habitable. The Triassic-Jurassic extinction wasn't just a catastrophe. It was a great purge. A purge that changed the history of life forever. The fifth extinction, Cretaceous, Paleogene. 66 million years ago, Earth took its last breath in the age of dinosaurs. The Cretaceous world came to a sudden halt. In a short period of time, about 75% of all living species on Earth were wiped out. The dinosaurs, the unrivaled rulers of the land, fell one by one. After this catastrophe, no land animal weighing more than 25 kilograms remained, except for a few hardy survivors like crocodiles and sea turtles. This event marked the end of the Mesozoic era, an era that lasted more than 180 million years. And with it, the curtain rose on the age of mammals, the era in which we still live. But what was the dinosaur killer? The answer lies hidden in a thin layer of soil, a layer that is found all over the earth, from the depths of the oceans to the land. In this layer, there's an unusual amount of iridium, a metal that is abundant in asteroids, not on Earth. A space rock about 10 to 15 kilometers long, traveling at incredible speed, hit what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, an explosion equivalent to billions of atomic bombs. The sky darkened, the sun disappeared, dust and sulfur swallowed up years of light. Photosynthesis stopped, plants died, the food chain collapsed. The dinosaurs died not in one blow, but in a global, endless winter. The enormous Chicxulub crater, 180 kilometers in diameter, remains today like an old wound on Earth, a reminder of the moment that changed the history of life forever. The dinosaurs were gone to make way for us. Sixth extinction. Studying these 5 catastrophes teaches us a big lesson. Life is fragile. Today, many scientists believe we are experiencing a 6th extinction, but this time it's not an asteroid or a volcano, but the activities of a species. Ourselves. Will we, like the dinosaurs, be just a thin layer in the geological record? Here, the Terra channel is the key. Follow us to better understand the planet you walk on.